I'm curious, what is the success rate of prosecuting hate crimes in Pennsylvania thus far? Is there any data about the efficacy of those prosecutions given having to prove intent? Like, where is the track record in our Commonwealth thus far for the protected classes that currently exist in statute?
I don't have that information. If anyone does, we can try
Okay.
to, if you want to work with us a little bit or comment
Sure.
on it.
I just think that is a relevant starting point. We talk about intent and getting into people's heads, and that is a slippery slope and a challenging one. But I also understand the very legitimate intent to address the spate of hatred in our society that has fueled violent acts against property. There was a vandalism of a mosque in my district that used to be a church, that used to be a synagogue. We all came together to say, this is not right. My concern is that we are making examples of awful anomalies without talking about structural violence. And to me, that is the priority, is to acknowledge the structural violence that has allowed for individuals to do awful things. I imagine, and I can only imagine since we don't have any data before us today, that most hate crimes will not be as egregious as the ones that my esteemed colleague from Allegheny County referenced. They are still awful. This is a personal issue to me because I have been the target of racialized violence, threats of castration, of lynching, of exile for my entire tenure here, sometimes fueled by my colleagues in this body through social media, where I've had to seek protection for my children. And I am the embodiment of racialized violence in that I descend from multiple rapists. As a genealogist and family historian of 30 years, the reason I look the way I do is because of structural violence and institutional rape. So this issue is particularly important to me also as someone who represents a very long-standing and vibrant Jewish population, a majority African-American population with a very vibrant Muslim population. In my household, I have members who are queer, who are disabled, who are Muslim in my house. I take this very seriously, and I have extraordinary respect for my colleague from Allegheny County who's been fighting the good fight on the front lines for decades, sometimes in a vacuum. Again, my concern is that I want to know how efficacious expanding these protections will be against the very things we all find abhorrent. And I don't know what that is. I do know that we should collectively focus on structural violence and hatred that has been cultivated by the very institutions that have been asked to address this legislation. To me, that should be the priority. I will be a yes vote on these bills, but I have considerable reservations and concerns about how we attack hate. And I'm not certain that this is the best way, but I defer to my colleagues and hope that when it comes on final, that perhaps there can be tweaks to do better and to address issues that rise above the anomalies and the individuals when in fact this is an institutional issue. Thank you, Mr. Chair.